attend today's presentation. We are managing family stress, and we're providing you some tips during COVID-19. I found an article written by a pediatrician, and I really thought these tips and tricks were really helpful for individuals and families. So I wanted to share this information with you all. Let me say that you guys know your family best. So if you don't think one of these things will work very well for your family, that's perfectly okay. But I just want to present the material, and if you can get just a couple of great ideas, then I'll feel good that we shared this info. I know I learned a few things. Again, I'm Susan, and our goals over the next half hour or so is to offer some tips to lower your family stress during this challenging time. And I developed a resource, just a handful of local resources, if you feel like you need to reach out for just a little bit more help. So let's do a little overview. In the news, we keep hearing the words, this is an unprecedented time. And I have to agree. We have never experienced anything like COVID-19 before, and it has an impact on every aspect of our life. Our work, certainly our kids in school, our finances, whether we feel safe. It impacts, of course, our health, maybe our ability to travel, our ability to play freely, and it could have an impact on our mental health. So it's really important that we take a little time just to examine these things and see if there are a few tips and tricks that we could do to prevent that stress. And stress is the name of the game on this. Definitely I identify with this picture. For families, their routines are interrupted. All of our plans have changed. Our days look different, they feel different, and being cooped up in the house isn't easy. And at the same time, we have to worry about a virus that can make us very, very sick. We want to keep our family healthy and safe. So let's move on to the tips and tricks and see what the physicians have suggested. Number one is keeping communication open. And they suggest some virtual meetups and play dates. So using the technology that you have or that you enjoy using, some people prefer FaceTime or Skype. We're doing these classes on Zoom, and I'm getting to know Zoom. You can use these platforms to meet up with the people that you love, with friends and family. And especially if your kids are missing their friends. Our children are social creatures. Their best friend may live right down the block. See if you can arrange a virtual play date on either FaceTime or Zoom or Skype. Now, that kind of thing isn't for everyone. I have a family member that they really are not comfortable being on video. And that's okay. We can go back to real old-fashioned letter writing, becoming a pen pal with people. It's a great exercise for the kids to get some writing in. Even your littlest ones can do some pictures. And most people just love getting letters in the mail. I know that I do. And it would be a great experience as a family to send off some letters and then wait for the replies back. It keeps us connected with the people that we love in a way that's safe. The second trick is number two, personal time, taking me time. And me time is important for every single person in the house. Set aside some time every day for the kids to do something quietly on their own. And during that time, do a little something for yourself, whether it be yoga or having a snack that you don't have to share, reading a chapter of your book, or just sitting with a quiet cup of coffee. whatever it is that will help you unwind, and to take the energy level down a little bit in the house. A little space is a good idea when you've been cooped up a little too long. So a little bit of time every day. And it helps the kids learn that they can entertain themselves. They don't need to constantly have mom or dad entertaining them. Now, this next slide I included, it is a 10-minute meditation for anxiety. I'm not going to play the full 10 minutes, but I wanted to give you an example of some online options for meditations. It's a great way to just kind of take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to deep breathe and to feel your body and your mind relax. I find they're really helpful because sometimes if I try to just take 5 or 10 minutes, I just end up becoming busy and I don't really sit still and do that. So I wanted to share with you some of the possibilities. There are lots and lots of videos on YouTube. If you don't like this one, by all means explore. Find someone. If you don't like his voice, maybe you prefer a woman's voice. Maybe you prefer no one talking and you just want some gentle, relaxing music. That just gives you a little overview of what's possible out there. I find it to be very helpful. In fact, just listening to those 30 seconds or so, I was like, oh yeah. So just see if that's helpful for you and for the children. They do make guided meditations for kids, so that might be something that's an option. Now, the third tip and trick is taking it easy on yourself and your kids. This is a really rough time for everybody. And when life is turning everything upside down, we just don't feel right. You or your kids may feel cranky or frustrated. You might see more crying. You might be crying more. Remind yourself that some days are going to be harder than other days. And sometimes we just can't have that perfect day. Try not to focus too much on the failures of a day or what you think are the failures of a day. And try to find some places that you're like, you know, we did okay right here. And don't be afraid to kind of change focus. Certainly taking a few minutes to count to 10 and calm down is important. And then trying to change the focus for your kids. So sometimes distracting is a really helpful tool. Going outside and playing, taking a change of scenery. So social distancing doesn't mean that we have to stay inside 24 hours a day. If the weather's nice, you can get outside and play. I would say just grab your mask. You could read a book on the porch. You could take a walk in the neighborhood. Going out together as a family to a safe place, everyone will benefit. The fresh air, burn off a little of that energy, change the scenery, tire out a little bit. This is a slide that's worth a little bit of conversation. Limiting screen time, both on social media and the news, because this is a tip that's good for both parents and children. Now, it can be tough because for many of us, scrolling through social media is our form of relaxing. But the problem is those images, those constant exposures to the worries about COVID-19 can really start to stress us out even before we recognize it happening. So what they suggest is you put a limit on how long you'll spend on social media and how much of the news you'll watch each day. I will share that there was even a time early on in the pandemic that I had to take several days off the news because my stress level was through the roof. So continue doing the same thing for your children too. Their exposure to the news of COVID-19 can lead fear, worry, and stress. You may see them acting out, unhealthy eating and sleep habits, excessive sadness. They may be having difficulty with attention and concentration. So kind of, reducing the amount of time they're in front of the screen and exposed to COVID-19. And really, there are so many traumatic events going on in our country right now that, all of that could be having an impact on them, and they may not know that they can talk to their parents about it. So just kind of be aware of what your kids are watching and the impact that it may be having on their mental health. Now, this one, keep your routine as much as possible. Consistency helps. And what we know from experts is that routines build secure feelings in kids. Right now, your children may be going to school part-time. They may be virtually learning. You may be home having to work or working different schedules because of COVID-19. Basically, our normal routines are thrown out the window. But if you could find places to have a routine, even if it's just mealtime or reading a book together, something that kids will have a sense of consistency. They know that you'll gather as a family around the table, or they know they'll have your attention at bedtime. That'll really help. It helps the kids, and it helps us too. Number 7, plan activities as a family. So we're all around each other all the time, maybe cooped up in the house more than we want to be. Yeah, it actually is a great idea to plan an activity. So that could be games. It could be puzzles. You could take a class online together. They suggest reviewing old Bill Nye the Science Guy videos. You can have a movie night with popcorn. You can play board games or whatever feels fun for you guys as a family. Put it on the calendar as something to look forward to. And consider sharing the experience virtually with other family members. It might be a great way to kind of bring in some of the extended family all together. My granddaughter had a great time making her own homemade cooking videos. So she's 9 years old, and she had a great time making those videos. We had a great time watching them. Now, number 8 is check in with yourself and other family members. And as we can see from our picture, our parent is just about at her wit's end. She's blowing steam from her ears. She looks super stressed out. This is a really good thing to be able to do, is to take a step back and evaluate how you're handling the stress right now. Are you losing your cool? Are you raising your voice? Are you not acting like yourself? Are you not feeling like yourself? Try to be open and honest with yourself, and to check in with some of the other adults in your life. See if, hey, am I behaving normally? Do you think I've been short lately? Do you, kind of get some feedback. It may give you insight on some of the ways you're behaving. This is a really good time to check in with yourself and to check in on other people, like, hey, how are you doing? If you find that the stress and worry of the situation is causing you to be more irritable or angry with your child than usual, remind yourself of the following things. So everyone in your family is experiencing some kind of stress right now. No one is experiencing life as normal. So if your kids are acting up more than normal, try to find out if there's an underlying reason. And the other thing is to recognize that feelings of loneliness Boredom, fear, and anxiety are normal reactions to stressful times like these. You may need to give yourself a timeout. You may need to walk out of the room for a minute, give yourself some quiet time, reach out to friends or family or a mental health professional if you need a little help. I try to remember, even out in my community, if someone is being short or rude, that, right now is a really stressful time. Everything's hard. And we carry these things kind of on our shoulders, and it can hurt. So sometimes it makes us act out in a certain way. So it's something to keep in mind with the people in our family, and especially with the children that we love. Make sure your discipline tactics are fair and consistent. Discipline is more effective when parents know how to set and enforce limits, and when expected behaviors and punishments are based on their children's age and level of development. So basically, not expecting things from the kids that they're just not developmentally there yet. Remember that you're a role model, and so you should teach your child how you would like them to act in the future. And I have to say, out of this whole training, this next paragraph is what really spoke to me personally. Communicate with your child about how you're feeling. If you react in a way you wouldn't normally, explain to them that. And if you're struggling with sadness, frustration, or stress, talk about how the situation is making you both feel. And I really loved that, because I think a lot of times we try, we have these feelings of sadness or frustration, and we don't want to show those to our children or our grandchildren. And it makes us act in a certain way. And to be able to sit down and in an age-appropriate way say, I don't think I handled myself really well 10 minutes ago when you didn't want to take out the trash. Can we sit and talk about it together? And to talk through those and make them, not only are they learning experiences, but they're a great way to kind of connect emotionally and give your children and grandchildren names to feelings. I was feeling frustrated. You could see it when I snapped at you. Or I was feeling sad. You could see that when, I had tears in my eyes. So it's great to kind of open up that communication in the family. So ask yourself, what strategies have you used to help your family de-stress? We've been going at this COVID since, I want to say, like the end of February. I mean, it hit full force in March, but we've been under these strange, stressful times since the spring, and we're entering the fall. I am sure you guys have come up with some great strategies to help your family de-stress, and to keep life in balance. I would love to hear them. Here are some resources that can help. And like I said, these are the local resources that we talked about. So I found a virtual support group for parents for the Knox County School District. And from what I've heard, it can be a little bit stressful right now. Rules change, and you think you're all ready for virtual school or hybrid, sometimes in school, sometimes home, and you find yourself stressed out. So they have meetings. You can receive tips and offer to support to other parents, have your voices heard. So I posted that. I also posted a new support from Helen Ross McNabb. They designed this program specifically for COVID-19. And this is a helpline providing resources and assistance and emotional support if you feel that you are affected by COVID-19. So there's a telephone number. I also have a text crisis line. So if you're feeling some feelings to the extreme, if you're feeling very sad or suicidal, like you might want to hurt yourself, there is an option to do a text, 741-741, and you'll receive a crisis line. A trained counselor is available 24/7. So I provided that link. And then I also provided a link to the Knox County Health Department, because right now we're getting a ton of information. Some of it is real and some of it is maybe a little off the mark. So if you want to know what's really going on with COVID, that would be the place to go, would be the health department. And I provided the numbers. We have to have our joke of the day though. So the joke of the day, what do you call a pig that does karate? A pork chop. Totally ridiculous. My daughter said that was a real cornball joke, and it is, and I love it. I want to thank everyone. I will send those emails along with this link, and I look forward to reading your responses. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.